should the Indianapolis Colts trade up with the Arizona Cardinals in the 2023 NFL Draft? So the Cardinals possess a third overall pick while the Colts are sitting at 4. You already had the Panthers move up to 1, so that's 2 quarterbacks off the board with Carolina and Houston. And the longer the Colts wait to move up to 3, the higher the chances are that another quarterback in the team jumps them, and then the Colts have to settle for their 4th favorite. At that point, if it's Will Levis, maybe you just draft Will Anderson, at that point, because if a team trades up that's 3 quarterbacks in a row, Will Anderson's still on the board. Jalen Carter has these issues going on right now. I don't really want to touch that. Chris Ballard won't bother with if there's any signs of character issues. So, what would it take? Who is worth trading up for? It all depends on how the first 2 picks pan out. And that's why it's really difficult to say that the Colts should trade up to number 3 before the draft. Kind of best to wait until the draft. Say something crazy happens. Say the Panthers draft Levis or Richardson, right? Houston's going to take Stroud or Young. Then you're either going to have Stroud or Young at 3. That's when I think you move up. The Panthers take Richardson. It's the same thing going along with Bryson Young to the Texans, and the other one falling to 3. Maybe another team trading up. Maybe the Colts. So, are any of the guys that would make it to 3 worth trading up for? Richardson, I don't think he's going to go that high. If he goes to 1, then the Colts should target Stroud or Young. Now, if he doesn't, maybe the Colts could stay put at 4. I don't think anyone is really worth trading up for. Considering it's only 1 spot, if Young or Stroud is there, go for it. I've said for a very long time that no quarterback in this draft class is worth really trading up for, in my opinion. Young has his size concerns. Stroud his tape is confusing at times. Well, Levis's tape it's scary. But you see teams fall in love with Levis because of his physical tools, his elite arm strength. He can move a little bit. He has good size. But when you start to talk about his progressions, his accuracy, his mental side of the game, that's where the bricks kind of become weak in the building. That's where the building kind of becomes weak. But teams are willing to take a shot on those physical tools to try and help mentor him and try and polish up some of those things that he struggles with. NFL teams are willing to do that nowadays. As I said, Bryce Young is a size issue. Stroud, all around a decent quarterback. I don't think he's a safe option like a lot of people think. I think he's a very intriguing option. Other than that, in that Georgia game, the weaknesses that he had prior became a strength. He was phenomenal under pressure. Great throwing off the run. Phenomenal at creating. All of those weaknesses became strengths. How is he able to do it versus the best program in the National Football League? Yeah, he struggled to do it against much less talented programs like Kentucky. It's weird. And that's something you have to keep an eye on. Because his consistency is an issue. Could be an issue. Now, moving on to Anthony Richardson. We talked about Levis. Stroud. Yeah. Richardson. Dude's upside is through the roof. It's incredible. Thing is, he's raw. He has a cannon. He can move fast. I've known a lot of people who have made this comparison. He's kind of a mixture of Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson. I see it. But the only thing is, he's very raw. His accuracy could use work. But if you look at the adjusted completion percentage, it brings it from below 50% to maybe low to mid 60s. Adjusted completion percentage is when you take the completions away of when you take the incompletions out, if they were throwaways, if they were just flat out drop balls by the receiver. He has a lot of incredible tools in his ceiling. Sky is the limit for him. His accuracy is okay. There's a lot that he could work on, that he needs to work on. So you draft him. Are you expecting Gardner Minshew to start week 1? I think so. Draft a guy like Stroud? I don't think so. Very interesting on the different routes that you could take with any of these quarterbacks. They're all 4 of them are very different prospects. Every single quarterback, there's no quarterback that's ever the same. These 4 are incredibly different, every single one. And they all have the chance to go in the top 4. It's crazy. It is. It's possible the top 4 picks are quarterbacks. Wild. So, what would the Colts have to give up to move 1 spot? Just from 4 to 3. So, number 4 is 2,200 points. If you look at the Jimmy Johnson trade chart, it's 2,200 points. Look at the 4th, it's 1,800 points. That's a 400-point difference. That's like a mid to late second round pick to make up that difference. Or do you trade a player? Do you trade, maybe a second next year and a third this year? Because, one thing I do want to talk about is what might drive the compensation up, might drive what you need to give up more especially if you wait on draft night, because other teams may be wanting to trade up to that spot. So it's going to drive the price up. And if a team is coming back from 7, like the Raiders, or a little further, what are the Cardinals going to accept? A second-round pick and a solid player, or maybe a first-round pick this year, or a second-round pick this year, or a first and third, and then a second next year, or a second, maybe a solid player, maybe a third next year. It's, they're definitely going to take the one with the first, even with the player. So, what are the players? You go JDW. What are the players that you're thinking about? Kenny Moore. I think that, the Cardinals need a slot cornerback. They need cornerback. They need defensive help in general. Think they could look into trading for Kenny Moore. Jonathan Gannon is there. It just makes sense. Jonathan Gannon is in Arizona. So maybe you could offer him Kenny Moore. Maybe we just open some up there. Maybe offer him Ryan Kelly, who has been rumored to be on trade block. Big Molly Cox is another guy that's been rumored to be on trade block. So I think you could throw in maybe a third this year. Maybe like a Kenny Moore. Maybe like a Ryan Kelly. Just to swap picks. But if other teams are going to be wanting to trade up to their compensation, it's going to be pushed up. It's going to be more. So ultimately the question is, should the Colts swap with the Arizona Cardinals in the draft order? I have a few reasons why they should, when they should, maybe why they shouldn't. So let's talk about pre-draft. It's not really a good idea to trade up pre-draft. If you're not number 1, like the Panthers, you don't know who's going to draft who. It's a lot better to wait and be patient until it's that pick, until the Cardinals are on the clock, to see who the Panthers and the Texans take. Now, a con to that is, if you wait until the draft, the price might be shot up, especially if say the Panthers go with the pure upside guy, and then say the Texans just take Stroud. If Young is there, a team is gonna trade up to number 3 to take Young. Trust me. I think it's kind of a long shot that Young makes it to 3, but as we talked about before, the league is split on Young, or the league is split on Stroud, and maybe the Panthers go for a guy like Will Levis, who is similar to Carson Wentz, who Frank Reich had. Frank Reich didn't have a great last bit of that situation. Maybe they go for the pure upside guy in Anthony Richardson. Maybe Frank Reich, him get a new chance, a fresh start, fresh place. He start fresh. The young quarterback that he wants to develop, for his own. And, say the Texans take Young or Stroud. Some teams don't want to touch that height that Young is. Some teams aren't thinking about it. The height is scary. The frame is scary. Could Young hold up for 10 to 15 years? What you're drafting him for? You're going to draft a player in the top 5, top 3, especially number 1. Better be durable. Better be in the field more than you're off the field. You're going to be paid a lot of money, so you need to be on the field. You need to be good. A lot of pressure when you're a high draft pick, especially like top 5, number 1, big time. As a quarterback, it's even more. So, do you guys think the Colts should trade up with the Cardinals? Do you think they should do it before the draft? If you do, or if they think they should trade up in general, let me hear your thoughts. I'm genuinely interested to hear what you guys think. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. This is JDW Sports Talk Show, signing off.